I want to do something big. I want to achieve something in my life. But am I good enough to do that? What if I fail? What would people think about me if I try and I don't succeed? I fail, and I will be a failure. Today, there will be a lesson about self-confidence, about fear of failure, and how to overcome that, and what to do to be more confident and not too afraid of failure. If you're also someone who can't decide to make changes in your life, like to change work, to start your business, maybe start new relationships, then this lesson will be for you. My name is Janis, and I'm just starting my journey as a life coach. I've been studying psychology topics for a few last years, and I'm pretty talented at it, you could say, because I'm pretty good at understanding the human nature. This is gonna be the first lesson. I'm planning to make more of those for different topics, but also very useful. When I was younger, I was really shy. I can't really remember what had happened to me, why I was that shy. What I hear from stories from other people is that usually it's somewhere in your childhood. When you were loud, you were talking, you were running, you were doing all kind of things children do, but parents didn't like that, school didn't like that, someone else on the streets, some adults didn't like that, and they told you to be quiet, to calm down, to not be so active, and that all comes together and it compounds deep inside yourself. And then you're oppressed, you can't really express yourself because it's dangerous. And I learned that lesson very well. I was a good student at that age. And I was really shy. I was afraid to talk to other people. I was afraid to ask questions, especially in front of the class. And I was feeling like my every step I'm doing is being judged by others. So if I do some misstep, they will judge me. I will be either cursed or expelled from society, or I don't know, killed or whatever was in my subconscious mind. But I was really afraid to do anything. And if I even needed to tell something at the table with just my family, for example, it was also very hard. I could think of some words, quickly spit them out, and just to be over with that, and not to bother with that again. But it was really, I was getting red, blushing and sweating and all kinds of nice stuff. Then with the time, I started to get more confident, and it helped a little, but not too much. I still wasn't comfortable calling someone. I still wasn't comfortable to start a conversation. I wasn't really comfortable at small talk, but it wasn't that bad anymore. I was kind of comfortable. About half a year ago, I started my YouTube channel. I wanted to get more comfortable at talking to camera. I wanted to show myself to people because I'm feeling that I have a lots of value I can give to people. But it was hidden inside me and I didn't know how to get it out. I was just hoping for a good opportunity when I would be able to shine. But these opportunities don't come, they're waiting. They're waiting for me somewhere. And I need to go and get it myself. I'm 47 now, and I am going through some big changes in my life. I'm kind of bored with my previous life. and I'm not satisfied with the level of income and value creating for other people. In this lesson, I will give you some theory so that you understand better what's blocking you and what's getting in your way to fulfill what you're looking for. So the fear of failure. What is that and where does it come from? Most likely it does come from your childhood, when we are still depending on our parents until some age. Some say it's 7 years, maybe it's a little bit more or less. But anyways, when we're just a small children, there is a stage in our lives when we can't really survive without our parents or probably other adults, but we cannot survive on our own. If we were just left outside as infant and no one would pick us up and took care, then we just die. When you are getting more conscious, then you start to understand that you need your parents to like you. If they don't like you, they're angry at you, you have a chance to not survive. And those fears at that stage, they are real, because if we imagine that parents are not the best parents in the world and they will get angry with you if you do something wrong, then you can just imagine what could happen if that even wasn't in a civilized country, for example. And those lessons we learn at our early years, they are recorded deeply in our subconscious mind, which I could compare to autopilot on a plane. We program it in our childhood. Unintentionally, it just happens. And then this autopilot guides us through the life. And it helps to some extent, because if we just leave it as it is, it will guide us somewhere. It will get us closer to the target that has been programmed in it. The thing is that the programming that has been done at our early years, it's not really getting us where we want today. For example, if I am a small child, like 3 years old, and I will not do as my parents say, and they will get angry with me. And let's imagine that they could leave me in a forest and I would probably die there. Now, when I'm grown up, it's not really dangerous if I do something that other people don't like. Of course, we can imagine some criminal activities where it could be dangerous still, but it's not our everyday life. We are scared even to express ourselves when it's pretty safe. And that blocks us from taking action, from doing what we really want. How that fear of failure impacts our confidence? And the answer here is pretty simple. It lowers our confidence a lot. For example, if you are considering to do something and it's involving some kind of risk, probably it's not even a big risk, but you are afraid that you will fail because no one will like you, and because of the judgment you think you're not good at all, and you won't even try. It could include, for example, a new job, maybe a better position in your current job, maybe to approach someone you like, but you think that they're too good for you. And then sometimes when you see your desired target and you just dream about it, because you think, I could do that, but if I was rich or famous or much more attractive, and then you say, but I'm not, and it's not going to work for me. That's in your conscious mind, but also in your subconscious mind, your autopilot is creating obstacles for you because it's programmed to go very far away from any danger. For example, there is a mountain and you can't go straight through the mountain. That's obvious. But the early autopilot was too afraid to even approach anywhere close the mountain. It will go the other direction or very, very, very long way around or above, just to be sure that we will not hit the mountain. It is kind of keeping you out of danger, but then again you have to consider your energy. That's the fuel in the plane. You don't have unlimited amounts of that, especially if you're not confident enough. And if you go a long way around, then you run out of the fuel in the halfway, for example, and you just don't reach your destination. And there's also a feeling that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes to be attractive enough, to be successful at your job, to create a good content, to be interesting for other people. Because you know everything about you, you know all the mistakes you make. Other people don't see those mistakes as you see them. Other people see only the large mistakes you make. The only person who knows all the mistakes you've made is you. And then you record all those mistakes and then you think, oh, I'm not that good. Because you don't see other people's mistakes as they don't see yours. And that leads us to thinking about ourselves less than we are. And as they say, only people who don't have the imposter syndrome, they're the actual imposters. They don't care about it. They are really pretending to be someone else, someone more than they are at the moment, and they don't care about not being good enough. And that may encourage you to leave those negative thoughts behind and just try and do something. But how can we build the confidence? Let's talk about where confidence comes from first. It is interesting that at first we all do have our confidence. When we are just newborn babies, we are not being shy, we are not afraid to yell on top of our lungs, and we are not thinking what will others think of us or how will they judge us. When we grow up a little bit, the confidence is being trained out of us, because then we start to understand that in grown-up world we are very weak and we can't do a lot. Grown-ups are almost as gods. At first they can do everything, they can achieve things, they can make us warm and fill our stomachs, and for some time we think that they are almighty. And if we compare, someone is almighty, I am here, I can't do a lot, then the confidence is shrinking a lot. And obviously it's different for everyone. Everyone has different state of mind, different conditions, and different reactions to events. But in the end, I would be as bold as to say that every one of us has their confidence being trained out of us. And then the next part comes. We learn some information, we learn some skills, and we are bringing some of our confidence back, because actually I also can do something. And sometimes I even can do a thing better than other people can. And that brings it back. There is like a holy grail in confidence, the unconditional confidence. It's when you think of yourself as good enough and it doesn't depend on other people's opinions, on anyone outside. But it's pretty hard to reach. I would say you need to be almost a guru to get there. So we can try to keep that in our minds as a ultimate goal, but to get there we can do small steps that creates small victories, and we need to register those victories and to tell ourselves that we are good, we are enough, and we deserve everything we would want. To get there easier, it's very good to keep a positive mindset. So instead of thinking, what if I fail? Better think, what if I succeed? What if I really achieve that? What would happen in my life? And when you compare those two, very often that what if I fail result is not that bad even if that happens. But what if I succeed result may really change your life. Now, with all that in mind, what can you do? I can offer you some exercises to help build your confidence, to get out of your comfort zone, to get better at doing things. The first one would be victory journal. We are really good at registering our failures, but we're not so good at registering our victories. So when we look back at what we've done this day, this week, or any given time, we can remember that, oh, I didn't have success in this thing, or I failed at that, or I didn't do that. But it's pretty rare that we remind ourselves about our victories. Why would you want to do that? It will help to build up your confidence. Every victory, every challenge you win, that all builds up inside you, and you start to be more confident because you know that you can accomplish things. So what to do? As I do it, I've got a reminder in my calendar in my phone. Every evening, it reminds me to share my 3 victories. I am sharing those with my wife, and she's sharing with me, so we are working together. You can do it alone, of course, but it's much better if you have someone to share it with. So we recall our day and we think, I did this. For example, I recorded a video. I managed to get through hard situation with a good and positive attitude. And it doesn't have to be something really huge, like you won the Miss Beauty of Universe. Also, small things count. You walk today 7,000 steps, for example, or you get to sleep at time where you wanted, or you started to work at your creative project. Everything counts. Everything that makes you feel better about yourself. Yeah! It's a good habit to incorporate in your daily routine, but if you're afraid that you won't be able to do that on a continuous basis, start with a week. So set a goal to recap your day every evening for a week and point out your victories. Second exercise, fear versus fact. Most of fears that are keeping us from doing something, they are not real, because the danger we are imagining in our minds doesn't really exist. For those fears, the best thing for us is to confront them with the facts. It's like a monster in your closet. When you believe that there is a monster, you can be scared of that. And you can be even hearing sounds and smelling smells and feeling its presence until you open that closet and you look inside and there's no monster. So the exercise, you write down your fear that is keeping you from accomplishing something. For example, I'm afraid to change because that will lead to loss of action and adventure in my life, and my life will become flat and boring. Next step is to analyze. Look at that fear, look at the consequences that your action could bring, and analyze them with critical mind. In my example, just look at the people who are successful in the field you are wishing for success also. They are usually really energized, they're attractive, they're happy and fulfilled. So the fact is that the more you develop, the more and the stronger emotions you will feel, and the more positive feelings will come into your life. So after that, try to plan ahead what actions you can take to move towards your goal. What can I do to overcome that fear? And usually the best way is to come towards that fear by small steps, so that it's not too scary for you. Just do it step by step, little by little, and you come closer and closer to the fear you come, the more that fear will shrink and start to disappear until it disappears completely. For example, for me, when I started content creation, I started to record my videos on YouTube. My fear was that no one will gonna like it. It will look cringy and strange, and it is gonna be very hard for me. But I decided for me that I don't really care about bad pieces of content, because the main goal for me is to become better. And I think the main, or maybe the only way to become better at something is to practice, to do that. You can learn about it, you can think about it, but until you start doing, it's hard to get really good at something. So my goal is not to get huge following or create a viral video at the first try, or second, or I don't know, 20th. My goal is to continue creating content and to try to get better and better and better until I'm comfortable enough and I can create good content or great content effortlessly. So your fears, they're afraid of facts. If you give enough facts for yourself, the fear will step back. If we compare it to the autopilot, then the program that has been programmed into autopilot, it's working very well, and it's trying to protect us according to that program. And we don't even question that program, although that program has been written in a long time ago and it's badly outdated. It's not good for these days. But until we look at it, we analyze it, and we figure out what's wrong with it, it will continue working. Exercise number 3, the comfort zone expansion plan. So just to be clear, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit. We all got our comfort zones. It's where we kind of feel comfortable. We think so. We are afraid to go out of it. The funny fact is that it's not really comfortable. We still feel many fears, discomfort, insecurities, but still it is our comfort zone because we're used to it. And we think that staying in that comfort zone is gonna keep us from getting hurt. So basically the fact is that comfort zone is not comfortable, but we're afraid to leave it. So what should we do here? You choose one area where you want to improve. For example, it could be public speaking, it could be talking about your promotion, it could be meeting someone you like, or just coming to someone to talk about the topic you're interested in. Then, when you have your goal set, you don't need to dive in it completely at once. Take small steps. For example, if it's public speaking, start with something not as stressful for you. For example, you can create videos, as I do, as I started half a year ago. You can make a small speech at a dinner table with your family or friends. With friends, it would be even easier.
Anyone have any words they'd like to say about a man of the evening?
Yeah, I do. As is the tradition, I prepared a series of disrespectful jokes which generate humor at Howard's expense. Prepare to have your ribs tickled.
And when you're talking, don't try to impress people. Don't focus on their reaction, but focus on what you're willing to share. Build a route towards your goal. Divide it in small steps, each one a little bit higher than previous one, or if you're uncomfortable, you can repeat one of pretty easy steps several times. Even if you don't reach your goal at first try, you will still get better at confronting that fear, and you will develop, and you will be better at reaching your goals. And each of these steps, they are very good records for your victory journal. If you're really concerned about something that could happen, try to think through what's the worst possible outcome. In reality, if you don't care about the worst possible outcome, you will not be stressed out when doing that thing. It will come much, much easier. For example, if you're working at your garden alone and you get your clothes dirty, you will not be stressed out nearly as much if that happens at, for example, corporate evening. In conclusion, confidence can't be built in one day. You need to think towards it and do the small steps, but very important steps. And at first, the results may not be visible. They may be stacking one small thing on top of other small thing on top of other small thing. You don't see the progress as you don't see your children grow. But one day you may realize that those former fears you were facing, they're not in control of you anymore. Bye!